Hello and welcome to the NFL preview show from OddsChecker and Yardbarker. What's going on? I am Matt O'Leary, joined up with, we got a full crew in the house today. We got Chris, we got Dead Prez Picks, and we got the man, John Slop. And before we hop into today's picks, oh boy, do we have something good for you. A $500 cash giveaway, $500 cash. So easy. All you have to do is subscribe and comment on the OddsChecker YouTube channel. Really easy. It's free to enter, and maybe you win $500, and that might be some nice money to play some of these bets we're going to be talking about on here. We're going to start with the division winners. We'll go a little round table. Let's start with our guy, John Slop. You got one in here that's a little interesting to me, so I want to get into it, man.
All right, so I got super chalky with my conference winners and my Super Bowl winner. So that means you got to kind of get wild with your division winners, right? First one, plus 850, the Detroit Lions to win I don't even know what they're in, NFC North? All right. For starters, here it is. Everything has a number, right? Like so you hear Lions, but don't forget it's plus 850. It's plus 850 for a reason. But at the same time, like I heard this explained by a friend of mine on a podcast. I can't remember who said it, but he was like, I would take you to beat Usain Bolt in a foot race if the number was right. And I was like, I didn't really think about it. It's like, yeah, it's like, well, dude, he could trip. You know, it's like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. And he's right, though. He's right. There's a number for everything. And I think plus 850 is fair. That division could be wide open if Aaron Rodgers got hurt or something happened. You know, I'm not saying I want him to get hurt. I'm more saying that, like, just think this is football. You know, like things happen. Just imagine for a second if he got hurt. You're talking about the Bears and the Vikings and then the Packers with Jordan Love and then Dan Campbell in them. That's a dogfight at that point. I'll take 850, you know? And what if the Lions start hot? Then what happens? You know what I mean? Like they've got a pretty easy schedule, like in a way. I mean, you got the Eagles, Commanders, Vikings, Seahawks to start. Then they go to the Patriots. They could beat them. They go to the Cowboys. They could beat them. The Cowboys are always fake. Beat the Dolphins. These guys are like 6-0 now. Now what's the number? You know what I mean? Now you could probably get the Packers for something, you know? So I'm just saying that's not that bad. I'll take them to win that one. That'll be my first one.
All right. Are you giving us both? We'll do both in the same,
okay.
In the same swing here.
The next one I'm going to take is the Broncos plus 260. We should be getting a better number for this, so this is probably not the smartest pick. But at the same time, I don't really believe in the Chiefs anymore. Like, I don't know why I don't. I just don't. Without Tyreek Hill, I think there's something. I don't know. I have to see it first, right? Mm-hmm. So now you're looking at the Chargers, who have never done, like, go back any year of history of the world. They've never lived up to any type of expectation. So you can't take them for what their price is. And then you got the Raiders, who maybe, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think that they're much. I mean, you give the Broncos Russell Wilson, a coach that wants to throw. He's got some weapons. I don't know. Plus 260 feels right there. Again, it's a number that you can kind of sit on. If they start hot, maybe you go the other way. Maybe you get the Chiefs at a better number. But I feel like that's a good place to start. All
right, love it. And I'm sure, listen, man, I'm sure we've bet some crazier things than Lions plus 850. So,
oh yeah,
we could
today, like this morning, I've already.
I mean, you kind of talked me into the Lions. I started thinking about kneecaps getting bit and everything else like that. Like one Aaron Rodgers injury away from Kirk Cousins being the best quarterback in the division. Sign me up, baby.
That's not that crazy.
No, there's been crazier,
but it is crazy.
A little bit. Let's go down to our man Dead Prez Picks. What are you thinking for division winners here?
All right, well, I'm going to go with my Eagles first at plus 165. Brian will be happy about this because he didn't want me to leave them off the list. So I think the division's pretty open this year. Dallas had a lot going on in the offseason. They lost a lot of offensive weapons. And at the end of the day, it's Cowboys, so they're going to choke no matter what you give them. So I'm all in on my Eagles this year at plus 165. Pretty good offseason, adding A.J. Brown. That was a big add there. Defensively, they had a pretty good draft. Excited about some of the pieces they got there on the defensive side of it as well. I just think the division could be anyone's, and the Commanders, I don't see them doing much. The Giants stink. Yeah, there's nothing that's going to scare me in the division. It's basically the Cowboys versus Eagles. I know the Cowboys. Like, I know what they've done my entire life. I'm only 23, so I've never seen the Cowboys do anything good. I'm going to trust them that again this year they do nothing good. Listen, last season, all I had to hear about was, Cowboys every week, people in my DMs. The Eagles and the Cowboys got to the same spot, right? They both lost in the first round last year, and that was kind of a rebuild year for the Eagles. I think they have a big year. Jalen Hurts, I think he comes back, has a nice year. He has a lot of weapons now offensively. Their line's always been able to hold up. I'm all in on the Eagles there at plus 165. And then the other one that I'm going to do, I'm going to go with the Ravens at plus 160 to win the North. So, again, I think this division is going to have – well, the Browns are a mess. We don't know what's happening with Deshaun Watson.
They might not even play.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I don't think he can play. Who's their backup? Brissett, Jacoby Brissett. So, he's not going to scare anyone at that point. The Steelers, again, a lot of question marks at the quarterback position. Overall, I think that the Bengals are probably considered now the Ravens are actually the betting favorite, but it's kind of flipped there. I think the Bengals regress a little bit this year after that run last year. Defensively, especially, I think they regress. So I'm all in on the Ravens. Lamar's kind of betting on himself this year. It's a big season for him. Defensively, they also made, I thought, some good moves. Added Marcus Williams there at the safety position. Also drafted Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. I think you can put him right in. I think he's NFL ready, so I think he'll be really good this season. So I like the value on Baltimore there at plus 160.
All right, there we go. Let's head on over to Chris Mueller. Chris, what are we looking at so far?
So I'm going to be a little bit boring here and go with Eagles plus 165 as well. I'll run down my reasons, though. I'm 37, so I have seen the Dallas Cowboys with a big assist from Neil O'Donnell in Super Bowl 30 rip my Steelers' guts out, and that was literally the last time anyone cared. Well, no, everyone cares about the Cowboys. That was the last time they were a serious threat, I should say. The funniest thing, so being from Pittsburgh, Mike McCarthy's from Greenfield, which is a neighborhood in Pittsburgh, and he's royalty out there. When I hear Jerry Jones say, "Oh yeah, Mike McCarthy, he wouldn't be here if I didn't think he could win a Super Bowl," it's like a nice little belly laugh, right? Like I kind of, oh yeah, this is quaint that the old man down there in Dallas really thinks this is possible. McCarthy's a bad coach. Aaron Rodgers propped him up, so I don't buy them no matter how much talent they have. The Commanders, hard pass. Biggest dysfunctional joke in the league. The Texans are thrilled that the Commanders exist. Otherwise, more people would talk about how poorly run they are. Snyder's a clown. For karma's sake, I don't want anything good to happen to them. And I don't buy Wentz at all. Like, you could look at Carson Wentz and you could say, "Ooh, he looks the part." Wrong. No, not happening. Carson Wentz is going to tie into my other pick, believe it or not, for a division winner. I don't like the Giants at all. Even if they were to somehow decide, oh, maybe we'll sniff around Jimmy G, I don't buy that either. Go look at Brian Daboll. What has he done as an offensive coach in the pros when he didn't have Josh Allen? Seriously. In Pittsburgh here, we're laughing. People talk about Mitch Trubisky having rehabbed his image because he sat on the bench behind Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen should be getting percentages of multiple guys' contracts with other teams because he's propped them up. So that leaves the Eagles. I love A.J. Brown for them. I like the fact – I think Hurts has the right makeup. I don't know if I love Jalen Hurts as a long-term, big-time NFL quarterback, but I do think you can work with that guy and you can win with him. And I love their offensive line. That's the real thing that I love with the Eagles. I think that offensive line cures a lot of problems. We've seen in Cleveland in recent years a good line or a great line can kind of make an average quarterback and a Baker Mayfield look better. So I like the Eagles at plus 165. Drum roll, please, though. Now, this is the one that is up there with Lions plus 850, but I even think it's more plausible. The number's a little bit, it's not quite as much of a long shot. I'll take Jacksonville to win the AFC South at 750, plus 750. And that is based on two things. One, I do think Trevor Lawrence is closer to the real deal than not talent-wise. He's going to have ETN this year healthy, presumably. I like some of their pieces all the way around, but more than going down and running down a list of names here, and saying, oh, this is who I like, this is who I like, this is who I like. They've got Doug Peterson as their coach. And he made Carson Wentz palatable and then won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles pinch hitting. More to the point, they don't have Urban Meyer anymore. One of the biggest clowns, jokes, frauds since we've seen jump from college to pro since Nick Saban. I put a ton of stock in you let talented players play with a coach who's a real honest-to-God NFL coach, you might get good results. So that's why I'll take them. What did we see? One high-profile player, I don't even remember who it was on the Jags, said, it's nice to kind of have a professional environment around here. That tells me all I need to know. I don't trust Matt Ryan. Right. Yeah, exactly. Your best defensive player. That's right. He says, hey, this is a professional building now. That tells me a lot about how bad it was under Meyer. So I buy them. In that division, the Texans are 2 wins automatically. I don't buy the Titans whatsoever. And I think the Colts, if they stay healthy, could be dangerous. But I'll absolutely take that kind of action on Jacksonville.
I like it. It's bold, but I like it. So for me, I'm going to go to the AFC North first and talk about the Baltimore Ravens at plus 160. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Lamar Jackson coming back here and playing. Last year was obviously banged up and didn't look as great to what we were used to from Lamar. And I agree with Dead Prez over here. I think we see a regression from Cincinnati a little bit. They went on this unbelievable run to the Super Bowl last year. No one expected them to go that far. And they did, and it was a fun run. But at the same time, I think you're going to have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. It's hard to repeat a historic run like that. I think they'll be a competitive team, but I just like Baltimore more. I think they had a really good draft, and I think with Lamar coming back, that's going to really help out a lot. So them at plus 160, I was happy to find. And then in the NFC West, I really like the Rams at plus money. You're getting them at plus 120. The only other team in that division that I think has a shot is the San Francisco 49ers, and they're starting a big question mark in Trey Lance at the quarterback position. We didn't really get to see him too much last year. They're moving on from Jimmy G. They haven't traded him yet, but they made it pretty clear that they're going to be moving on from him. So this one is more of a respect thing to the defending champions. And, at plus money, I was surprised to see them there. I thought they'd be, minus 115, something like that in that range. Just because, they still pretty much bringing back the same team. They have a good head coach. Matthew Stafford's thriving out there. They added Allen Robinson too, I believe, in free agency. So I think that's going to be a really good football team out there. And I think they have a chance to make a pretty good deep run in the playoffs once again. So
you didn't want to do any independent study and pick the Cardinals and Kyler Murray? You didn't want to do your homework for 4 hours? Yeah. That
was that shot up as a red flag to me. I know they technically took that clause out of the contract yesterday, but I am not a believer in Kyler and Cliff.
I don't know if I believe they actually took it out. I think they're just saying they took it out because of their reaction in the media. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen in the contract.
he comes out of it looking so bad. I'm actually pleasantly surprised to see, and Rappaport did not make himself look good because it's clear that he's getting it direct from Kyler's agent or Kyler himself, and he was so pro Kyler. But I'm glad to see that there hasn't been a massive sort of player sympathetic overreaction there. Teams don't put those clauses in unless they have reason to. I was just looking up something on Ben Roethlisberger because he got in the news in Pittsburgh again with what he said about me first behavior in this day and age, which was kind of hypocritical, obviously, in his part. One of his early deals after his motorcycle accident had a hazardous behavior clause. Wow. You don't put that in unless you crashed your motorcycle and almost died. You don't get a homework clause put in your contract unless your team knows that iPad isn't on and you're playing Fortnite.
the Jamarcus Russell clause.
Yeah. It's the all-time greatest. I mean, we had one of his teammates on my show. Yeah, the blank DVD thing. We heard it straight from Bruce Gradkowski. It's an all-time story in NFL history.
That's phenomenal.
Not a great look.
No, not good. Not good at all. Let's move on. We're going to go conference winners now. So who's going to be representing the AFC and the NFC? Back around over to John Hyslop.
All right, I'm just going to go Bills plus 300. I warned you. I told you it's going to be boring, but I'm looking at all these other teams. But, I mean, again, I don't know that the Chiefs – we'll see. I mean, it is Patrick Mahomes, but they're plus 450. I think if they stumble a little bit, maybe we get a better number later. But you start looking down, the Broncos, Chargers are plus 850. The Ravens are somebody to consider at plus 1,100. The Colts maybe at plus 1,200. But, I mean, those are your choices. You know what I mean? It's not that you're saying the Bills are so great. It's more of you're looking at the others and being all right, well, who's going to take them? But after last year, you've got to think, especially with that coach, you just got to think that they show up this year. And it could be like an FU tour. You know what I mean? They just have that makeup of just a tough team that they're a tough out. Put it that way. I mean, they were a tough out last year in the AFC title game. So not much has changed there. I like them at plus 300. On the other side, on the other side though, the Buccaneers probably another. I mean, the chalkiest one, but still. Who else is there? The Rams plus 500 is legitimate, but at the same time, you got to worry about hangovers. But that team is loaded, so maybe they don't, and it is what it is. But everybody after that, I already got Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, so the Packers are out.
You know the Lions making a deep run to the conference title
with
Jared Goff.
When you get to the bottom, you got to scroll way down to get those odds. But they're plus 5,000. You just got to think, maybe it's not their year. Maybe they just hit the playoffs. Maybe next year. But you start looking at the 49ers. I don't know, the Cowboys. Like I've never take the Cowboys. So I mean, again, the Buccaneers with what happened last year. They could easily be back.
I don't like that chalk from you. This is very
anti. I know it felt weird, right? Like when I was typing, I was like, "Man, am I even like? What am I doing?"
John, can you trademark a statement that says like, "If this comes through, though, Borg money makes money" or something like that? Like,
we might have to. We might have to. I mean, I just don't. Man, it stinks. I wanted to come out here and tell you about the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe the Saints. I wanted to, but I can't.
It's hard when they don't have the quarterbacks to talk yourself into it, though. It really is.
Yeah, I can't do it. But maybe one of you guys will. Like I'm
ready to go.
Dead Prez?
So you're ready to talk Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Matt?
No, well, it's the second you said. I'm going Saints. So
okay.
This
I like it.
Probably will not win. I'm just going to get that out there now. But at 2,200 here, I like the value on them just because that defense, I think, is still a top-tier defense. Number 4 in the NFL last season. Jameis Winston was actually having a really good year before he got hurt. Offensively, they did get Michael Thomas back as well, which will be I'm assuming it'll be a huge boost for Winston if Alvin Kamara can stay healthy. But it's more kind of betting on the defense. They would kind of have to have a fantasy year like my Eagles had where like everything falls into place. They just weirdly win games in the playoffs. I don't think they'll win the division, but I can see them being a wild card team here. I do like their value on them to make the playoffs. And then once they get in, obviously we know anything can happen. It's tough to trust Winston, but he did show me something last year where it seemed like he might turn the corner there in New Orleans. But this is more so betting on the defense. Like I said, number 4 in the NFL last season in total defense. And then they added Marcus May there in the offseason at the safety position to improve that defense, I guess to replace Malcolm Jenkins. So I think they'll have a chance. Probably not going to win, but we're going to take the value. And then over to the AFC, I actually really like this one with the Indianapolis Colts that come out of the AFC. Kind of comparing this to the Rams run last year where they have a good team and then you add that veteran quarterback that just can't win, Matt Ryan there, kind of like Matt Stafford. Now, Matt Ryan obviously should have a Super Bowl. He's won playoff games unlike Matthew Stafford has. But I think you're putting him into a really good offense, right? Offensive line, Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the game. Wide receiver position, I'm big on Michael Pittman. I think he'll have a good year for them once again. And then defensively, they were not great last year, so that's going to kind of be an area where we want to see them improve. We knew in that do-or-die game they gave up like 100 points to the Jaguars, which was obviously disappointing. But I like the value here on the Colts. I think Matt Ryan I think they could have been a quarterback away. I mean, they had Carson Wentz playing quarterback last year. No one's going to be there with Carson Wentz. So you give Matt Ryan a chance to take over this team. Again, this is a pure value shot, but I like the Colts here out of the AFC.
John, just for the record, man, I want to tell you about your Bills pick a couple minutes ago. I did anoint them my official Super Bowl champions last year because I said they were so derelict of duty with the no squib kick. So my co-host has been infuriated by me saying they are actually the champions of the NFL because they would have beaten the Rams. So I actually love the plus 300. Dead Prez, I mean, you did go against my Trevor Lawrence Jaguars, but I think you make a compelling case for the Colts right there. I mean, you really do. Like, the only thing is the lack of a Donald and a Ramsey on defense, but all the other pieces are there. And Pittman, I think, is a beast if he's got a real quarterback.
Yeah, and we could both win, all right? The Colts could come out of the wild card, and then the Jags could win the division, and then the Colts
True.
Everybody wins.
I was going to say, everybody eats in this one. I'll go NFC first since it's the less of the two long shots. I mean, I think you can make a Rams case here. I don't love that Jensen got hurt. I didn't see how bad that ended up being for Tampa.
I think he's done for the year.
So that to me is a huge blow. And who's out there trying to give up like centers in trades or anything? I think Brady can help a lot of that. But I think if you hit Brady, we see what happens. And I'm a Tom Brady's the GOAT, like easy GOAT. You know, he made Belichick more than Belichick made him by far. But you're still kind of dealing with, as my son yells at me in the background, you're still kind of dealing with, like, can they stay healthy enough long term? Hold on, buddy. I'll take the Rams plus 500. I love the roster, and I love Stafford. I mean, I think he's been kind of unlocked there now. And so I think you look at what he's done, and there's no reason not to believe that they can't do it again. So that's the chalky one. Battle of Los Angeles in the Super Bowl, baby. Give me the
Ooh.
Chargers at plus 850.
There we go.
Okay. If you got Justin Herbert, you have to show it at some point. We know that their MO as a franchise has been to always fall short. Guys get hurt. They get beset by injuries all over the roster. That dude is a unicorn. I think he's on a Josh Allen level of talent. If you have that guy and you finally made what I think look like smart moves on the defensive side to bulk up in that division, plus you subtract Tyreek Hill, I think Russ and the Broncos, I worry about Russ a little bit. Like, I wonder how good he's going to be. And I've been a huge fan of his. I think the path looks a little easier there to get through that division. And here's the other thing. If and when they do, I feel like the playoffs might feel like a breeze. If that division is as tough and they get through, they'll see better teams in the division games than they will in the actual playoffs. So I take the Chargers plus 850 to get there out of the AFC.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Chargers. I think they're going to be a really fun team. I just don't know if they're going to break. We haven't seen it yet, so it's kind of a prove it to me thing. So for me in the conference, I'm going to go one chalk and one less chalk. So I'll get the chalk out of the way with the Bucks. I know that they probably losing Jensen for the year, but with Tom Brady, I don't know how much that's going to end up mattering. He just finds ways to win. He does. And in that NFC, really, to me, it's between them and the Rams, and kind of what I was talking about earlier with the Cincinnati Bengals. I think it's very tough to repeat and get back to a Super Bowl. So I'm going to go with Tampa, whose roster is very comparable to the Los Angeles Rams. They're a very deep team. They added Julio, who may or may not be washed, but that's just going to be fun to watch them play together with Tom Brady. And for me, I'm going to go to the AFC with the Ravens pick that I had in the AFC North. I just think if there's another team outside of the Bills or maybe the Chiefs, who I don't think are as good without Tyreek Hill to get there, I think it is this Ravens team. I think obviously last year, Lamar Jackson, losing him was a huge blow. I mentioned their draft earlier when I was talking about them winning the division. I think they took a lot of guys who could be impact guys right away. And I think they're going to be a team on a mission. And I think if anyone has a chance to upset the Bills or the Chiefs, that I'm going to go with Baltimore and that football team. So,
I like it.
Thank you. Got the John stamp of
I like it.
I mean, the best thing about the Ravens that I think anyone could say is you just assume that a full third of their team isn't going to be on IR this year. Like, I get the Lamar skepticism at times because I want to see him make more big throws in playoff games. But this idea that he gets down talked by people is, oh, he's not even a threat. Like, I see some of that in Pittsburgh, and I hear it from like Steelers fans like thumbing their noses at him. Come on, I would kill to have him on the roster of just about any team at quarterback. There's like a handful of guys in the league I'd take over him. Just because he hasn't done it yet doesn't mean he won't.
No, he's filthy. And
Absolutely.
that coach he's proven. So what are you going to do and play? I mean, you got to be tough. You're going to beat the Bills. I think the Ravens are tough. There's no question there. So,
John, who do you got winning the Super Bowl between the chalk and the chalk?
I'm taking the Bills plus 600. I mean, I'm looking at it. I haven't done the list of teams that can win the Super Bowl yet. That's coming soon, but they're on it. And there's not a lot of other teams that are. So, I don't want to do this, but at the same time, I'm betting this until they win because it's kind of fun to have a Bills ticket in your pocket just because they're a fun team. So, might as well go ahead and get it now. Plus 600. That could drop, and that would stink.
Dead Prez, what are we looking at?
And I'm sticking with the Colts just because I have them coming out of my division. I think that, again, a lot of the points that I was making earlier, I think they could just be one quarterback away. Now you give Matt Ryan a chance, kind of his last go here. Reminds me a lot of the Stafford situation. I think offensively they have the guys there. He has some weapons. Also, they added Alec Pierce in the draft out of Cincinnati. I think he's a guy that you could put in, and he'll be fairly NFL ready to go. So I don't know. I like the value here on the Colts. Again, defensively is going to be the biggest question mark for me. Can they step up? Because I think they're going to be a top 10 offense in the NFL this season, especially with Jonathan Taylor and that offensive line. So I'm going to go with the Colts here.
I'm going to go with the Chargers plus 1,600 to win the Battle of Los Angeles. everybody knows this by now, unless you've got Brady or unless you put together a team like the Rams did where you say F them picks and win a Super Bowl, the best chance you've got, the market inefficiency in football, is a precocious quarterback on a rookie contract. Well, it's getting late early out there for Justin Herbert to do it, but I think that guy is supremely gifted, like I said earlier. And I think they made the kind of moves that if they were my team, I would have wanted to see them make to keep pace in the division and to try to elevate themselves to a title contender. So I'm going to nominate good process here and say that a team with a great quarterback getting aggressive to bring in big name defensive players actually gets rewarded for it and that they win it all.
Love it. For me, I'm going to end up going with Tampa Bay here at plus 750. We talked about it earlier, man. And I'm hoping that it's like Tom Brady goes out with the Super Bowl win. Like, this is it. You finally call it quits after this, because I'm getting tired of the Tom Brady in the NFL thing. As a Jets fan, he ruined my life for a very, very long time. Then they're retire, unretire. I don't want him to turn into Brett Favre where he does this every single year. Just ride off into the sunset, man. Go out with a win. Prove that you're really, the guy, and it wasn't Bill Belichick, and just go away. Now, we showed a lot of love to some really good football teams. We got to go around and talk about some bad teams. So we're doing worst teams in the league. John, what are some bets that stick out for some bad teams?
All right, so this team's horrible, but there's two ways to bet it. There was the Houston, Texas fewest wins plus 300, but now that I look at it, BetMGM lets you bet a team to lose all 6 division games, and that's plus 400. So with the other bad teams out there, you might want to pivot to that one. They lose all 6 division games. It's plus 400. Look, they got the Colts twice. They probably won't beat them. They got the Titans twice. Probably won't beat them. The Jaguars have a real coach now, so there's a chance that they're not even close in any of these games. I mean, they're going to be dogs in every one of them, most likely. So to lose all 6, I mean, it feels kind of crazy to say that, but go look at the Texans depth chart. They're terrible. So here we are, plus 400 to lose all 6 division games. Feels right.
Love it.
What's Jack Easterby going to say about that, man? He's going to pray for you. I know that much.
He might. I'm praying for him.
Dead Prez, what are we looking at?
All right, I'm going to go with the team I think might be worse, and that's bad. I'm going to go with the Seahawks here as the worst team.
Suck, yeah.
This team stinks. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing good here about the Seahawks. And I think I was going to go with the Falcons, but then I was like, Seahawks division's a little tougher. They might not win a division game, right? The Rams are going to beat up on them. 49ers beat up on them, and then the Cardinals, they might take one from them. I don't know. It depends if Kyler watches film, I guess. So we're going to go with the Seahawks here as the worst team in the league. I don't know. I mean, their quarterback position, I think, is going to be by far the worst. I don't see how they win a lot of games. Their total's 5.5. I would take that under. It's actually a plus money, so I think they win 3 or 4 games this year.
Have you guys ever heard of when Floyd Mayweather Jr. fought McGregor? One of my favorite boxing writers said if you were just willing to, you could loan a casino $250,000 for a couple of hours, and then you'd get your small little profit back there because it was such a sure thing. So I'm going to tell you, this is minus money here. So this is going to more amount to a season-long loan, but you'll get paid back for it. And I'm already sorry for what I'm about to say. If Kyler Murray, if the question is, was he watching enough film? I think the film that Zach Wilson watched in the offseason was The Graduate? He seduced Mrs. Robinson or whatever. There's a lot of people that I think believe that a guy who has that gift of an arm, because he does, is going to make a leap in year 2, and that maybe Belichick and Mac bit off more than he could chew getting Mac Jones, a limited quarterback, and maybe the Bills will come back to earth a little. Maybe bottom line, the Jets will be more competitive. Over at BetMGM, obviously, you could do place division winner, and then where a team's going to finish, right? The Jets are minus 400 to be last in that division. I like some of their roster, but I am just not at all sold on Wilson after what happened to him last year. No matter how much it was through extenuating circumstances, Jets minus 400 just to be the worst in the AFC East again, I think is just loaning money briefly and then getting whatever, a nice little small return on it at the end of the season. And I say that, I mean no violence with my words here. I'm sorry to do it, but I do not buy Zach Wilson at all.
That's fair. If I think for me, I mean, last year was awful. There's no defending it. If you're a believer in what he was at BYU, then I think you're holding out hope that he
Go
takes
Cougars
this year. But if
in more ways than one.
exactly. But if not, listen, it's probably going to be a tough division. The Dolphins got better, and Buffalo's good, and New England has Bill Belichick. So not crazy. No offense taken here. I'm going to go back to what we were talking about earlier with the Seattle Seahawks. There's two bets that stand out to me with this team. Their under on 4.5 wins is plus 190. I feel like there's no way they're getting to 5 wins. That at plus money, I
plus
think
190.
Plus 190 at
Wow.
under 4.5.
Yeah, no,
So,
I like that.
And then if you want to go a little nuts, which I don't think is really that crazy, to start 0-4 is plus 500, and they
I see that.
have the Falcons and the Lions. John Highslop's Lions.
Yeah, there's no chance of beating my Lions.
Exactly. So
I've been a fan for like 3 days now, so I know.
Yeah,
You know what I mean.
As the most diehard Lions fan that I know, John Hyslop, he knows.
I actually ordered a shirt too, just so you know. Like this.
I love this.
I did.
As of 45 minutes ago, a diehard Lions fan through and through.
Yep.
Exactly. But like the Falcons is maybe the one in their first 4 games that you can sweat, but like this team's just going to be bad. Like Drew Lock, gross. Geno Smith doesn't do it for me. Good for DK Metcalf for getting paid, but this team is just going to be garbage.
Can I add something?
Yeah,
I just found the Seahawks to lose all 6 division games plus 400.
I like that too.
They're not beating the Rams or the 49ers. So like there's no chance. So basically
the only
saying,
sweat there is Kyler.
Yeah, Kyler and the Cardinals. But still, like the Cardinals could accidentally beat the Seahawks. You know what I mean? Like those are the teams that the Cardinals beat. Teams like that.
Do you get nervous on that one about Lance? Like, when do they see the 49ers? Because if it was early in the season,
I don't know.
I would get nervous about, like, does Lance just absolutely biff a game because he's still figuring it out a little bit?
They still would win by defense. It would be like a 9-6 49ers. You know what I mean? It's just a last-second field goal on a Drew Lock turnover.
Perfect. Just the greatest kind of football to watch.
You know, and that's NFC West football right there. But that's not. I mean, I just don't think. I think they stink. I think the Panthers stink too. Just so we're all clear. But the Falcons stink too. So they're in the same division, which kind of ruined everything for any of their bets.
Totally. So before we get out of here, just another reminder that if you subscribe and comment to the YouTube channel, you are entered to win $500 cash, which I don't know about you, but I think I'm going with the Lions plus 850 here with that. If I win that
500, yeah.
You almost have to. I mean, like your hands are tied.
It makes too much sense not to. But for these guys, once again, I am Matt O'Leary. This has been the OddsChecker Yardbarker NFL Preview Show. Talk to you next time.